Start here as well. Good. So at the because this is only my 6th iteration,
Only six.
I need to do a clap in. So we'll count down from 3 and then clap together. So
Right.
3, 2, 1. Beautiful. So now it means I can now sync the audio to the visual earlier on. So Amy, before we got on here, you were saying something about cancel culture. Talk to me.
I just think it's ridiculous, personally.
So coming from someone who is 18,
Mm-hmm.
the only people I ever hear talking about it are middle-aged, and they obviously are looking at it from a adult, more experienced lifestyle, looking at the sort of younger generation.
I think the interesting thing about, for lack of a better word, middle-aged or adults talking about social media terms is that I think a lot of the time they misuse it. So they'll talk about cancel culture, but they'll be referring to something that they've seen, in a newspaper or in an article from the perspective of another adult. They obviously won't see it from the insight of, what would you call me, Generation Z? I don't know. Whatever age group this is.
I don't know if I'm Z or X.
I think you're a
millennial.
Are you a millennial?
I'm 95. I don't know what that means.
Possibly. I thought millennial was like late 80s.
I thought millennial was 2000. That's what I thought you were.
No, see, I'm definitely not a millennial.
That
Millennial
doesn't
is
make
like
any sense.
It's meant to be like the salad posting hipster.
Salad posting.
Well, you know what I mean, like the people who ones who've decided they're not going to have a job and that's going to be their job kind of thing.
By the new millennium, they were adults.
I don't know how it works. Don't quote me on it,
Okay.
but I think it's more your age group. I think it's what's classed as millennials. But anyway, going back to what we were saying, like for example, when you read articles talking about cyberbullying or Instagram followers, or they'll talk about, this person is a TikTok star, and they'll say, they make these videos, but they, I don't, but they're seeing it from the adult perspective, as reported by adults, as shared by adults, as conversed about by adults.
Yeah.
And I think for me, being part of the generation that's actually involved in it, we see it from a very different perspective because we are looking at it from within rather than from the outside. So I guess it's almost just normal. The terms that fly around, it's like the same as, I'm trying to think what the equivalent is. Talking about mainstream media, it's just a normal thing, like talking about scandals in the newspaper or tabloids and stuff. It's normal vocabulary that we use. So looking at cancel culture, well, what have you heard adults say about it?
Well, I know of sort of people like Brett Weinstein and his wife Heather, who were I can't remember which campus it was, but they were basically scared off of it by an angry mob because they were accused of being racist because they engaged in microaggressions, and because they weren't bowing to the totalitarianism of the extreme progressiveness in the fact that if you're not using these correct words or you're not addressing them by their correct pronoun, etc., you are therefore a racist, not just because you don't follow this party line. Same thing with people like Jordan Peterson is the ones I hear. So he's a psychologist and a lecturer, an intellectual. He's been accused of the same sort of stuff, even though he's just based on a sort of is a scientist effectively. And you get it from, the great majority of what I see is from people who are outspoken on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook. Twitter is sort of the main culprit because Twitter is mostly liberal leaning, progressive leaning. Yeah. Anyone who says otherwise is basically taken off and destroyed from it there because they are saying something that's contrary to the narrative. Yeah. As opposed to keeping them on there to have that discord, because you want to have, if someone has an opposing view that you think is wrong, you don't want to silence them because then whoever hasn't already heard their view will want to go to them and find out more, and you will then sympathise because they'll see them as an underdog. Whereas if you get someone and you have a conversation with them and they explain their views, you'll either be like, oh, okay, I understand you from a different perspective now, or people will be like, this person's batshit crazy. Yeah. And then they'll be like, okay, we shouldn't.
But you need to hear it to make your own opinion. You need to hear it to know
that, either they're misinformed or, okay, I understand their perspective, or they use the crazy people.
Yeah. I think a lot of cancel culture, obviously me, being an 18-year-old, I'm on my phone a lot. I look at a lot of social media. It tends to come from people with platforms, influencers type of people, and it will usually be over some kind of, like, for example, the beauty community on YouTube will be drama because this person's called someone out in a tweet, and then all of their followers have said, "Oh well, I'll cancel it," or then you get the flip side, which is where somebody's come out and said something really racist, something genuinely really racist, and people are like, "Well, I'm having none of that." But I do think even just the word of it, cancel, it's like, hang on a minute, why do you go straight to the get rid of it? They don't give. There's no leeway for here's an issue, let's improve, because it's the same thing every time. It's mistakes made, cancelled, apology video. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh well, it's like you don't even give them a chance to actually reflect on it themselves or deal with it themselves. They're forced into this, I have to respond in a certain way, otherwise I'm going to get death threats mindset.
Okay, so have you had any like direct experience of this yourself?
Oh God, well no, because like I said, I do think you've got to be in a place where you've got a platform for people to feel that you're abusing it.
Okay.
So when I think cancel culture, I literally only think of the internet. I only think of that world. I don't think of really other, because obviously most celebrities these days are on the internet as well, and they have more than one platform rather than just whether they're singing, acting, dancing, whatever. And I think people do target celebrities or people like that because they don't view them as real people. They view them as a name on Instagram or a channel on YouTube. They don't view them as people. Whereas for people that actually know each other, and my social media is just people that I know, that kind of thing doesn't exist. It would be more like, from a social point of view, somebody's pissed you off and it's like not a boycott, but you know what I mean? You'd all kind of go cut them off or whatever. It's not, in social media wouldn't be used.
Okay.
It's a different kind of thing. I think cancel culture is very much somebody of some level of importance, supposedly, does something wrong, people attack them on social media and try and cancel them or end their career or shut them up.
So there's nothing, that's affecting you or your friends personally.
No.
It's just,
it's just something level. I observe.
Yeah, I've seen a similar thing as well. It's in essence, it's an interesting response, because if you look at it initially, it's, you could almost look at it from like a evolutionary survival perspective and be like, oh, that branch stung me, let's burn it.
Yeah.
As opposed to, okay, that holly bush stung me, but actually if you look, it's got medicinal properties, or there's berries attached to it or anything like that. So there's some good from it, something to learn from it.
Yeah.
I think it's what is interesting that you've made a point of, is that part of the reason you're probably not seeing any of the sort of thing for yourself or with your friends, because you say you made a point that you guys don't touch social media to sort things out between each other.
Yeah.
Whereas the people who do all this cancel stuff, they're the exact opposite. So they're the antonym to what you're doing, and the fact that they will never ever do anything in person. But
it's interesting, even when social media is used, because you've got like platforms which would be Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, where you post content essentially, and then you have messaging social media like Snapchat, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp. Now, some stuff would get sorted over those kind of messaging things because it's conversing. To me, it makes absolutely no sense to go to a platform where it's not even a one-on-one conversation to deal with, or not even deal with the problem, to face an issue. I never in my life, positive or negative, have I left a comment under a celebrity or a person's Instagram that I don't know, ever.
Likewise.
You don't know them. Why do you need to comment? It's strange. I don't like.
It's like the thing when people would go to war or come back from war, the grand old crusading knights. People were lining up on the street would try and touch them and try and get a touch of the cloak, or kiss their shoes or whatever, just to have that touch of greatness. I'll be like, oh, they'll make you bless my baby or something. It's because you want that you want that greatness and that attainability by association, by like, oh yeah, I touched them, I got a response or whatever, I managed, and part of the reason is to try and get a response. I heard of this teaming,
but I think I only follow about maximum 10 verified people, and I promise you now, they're all musicians. And the only reason I follow them is for the music.
Mine's comedians and fighters. That's it.
Yeah. I don't follow anybody else because I don't care what colour hair Kylie Jenner has. I really could not give a shit.
And you know, some people start off funny. Like I first followed Ken Jeong on Instagram ages ago because he's just utterly hilarious. But he's turned his Instagram sort of platform into quite into just a picture gallery of his tweet battles with Donald Trump. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. I just had to just hide that. I was like, dude, I think you're hilarious and I love you, but I can't keep seeing that. So I was like, I can't. I'm sorry, man.
And you don't need to follow all these people. I think some people follow it for the sake of it because their friends do. But I do not understand the benefit of scrolling through someone else's feed and going, I want that life.
Just bring the mic up a little bit. That stand's crap. It's terrible.
And just thinking, what's that?
Yeah, just push it up. The stand is broken, so it'll slowly come down. But just that should.
You know, the people that just sit there and they're jealous of other people's lives and I want that house, I want that car. I'm saying, well, you sat there staring at your phone instead of going out and earning money. It's not going to get you that house or car, is it?
What is very interesting as well is that you'll see a celebrity buy that house or that car.
Mm-hmm.
If it's by a car specifically, they were given that just for that photo shoot.
Yep.
Odds.
Yep.
Odds. You know, it's very, very interesting.
And kind of looking to the superficiality, is that the right word? Of social media, I realised there was actually a point in my life where a lot of what I was doing was to post it on social media.
Mm-hmm. Likewise.
So like being at a concert, I had to make sure everyone knew I'd been there. I had to post a million videos. I had to film every single song. I've heard the song before. I can watch it live on YouTube. I paid money to see it in person. I didn't pay money to look through my phone.
Do you remember 2015 when I took you and your mate to go see Years and Years at the Oxford O2?
Oh, why did I not? But this is exactly. I mean, I was 13 at the time.
Would you
but
like to tell everyone what you did while we were there?
I think I filmed every single song. Mm-hmm. Spent the whole time with my phone up here.
Yeah.
I don't even have half those videos. I had 3 videos left.
Well, my memory is that you were filming it all on your phone, ran out of space. He then turned to me and asked, "Can you use my phone?" And I said, "No, fucking watch the show."
Oh yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. But
as you say,
that was in the time where everybody it wasn't valid if you didn't put it on social media.
I agree.
And I think I realised that probably around year 11. Unfortunately, I think I realised, and I think it was a Drake lyric, which was something about like you travel somewhere just to post pictures or whatever or something like that. And I realised I need to stop doing things to post about it. So I actually, with things that I was doing, made a point of not posting it. I'd maybe, for like a little bit my favourite song, put a 10-second video up, nothing else. Mm-hmm. Didn't feel the need to do a whole, this is what I did here. Or, festivals. Well, for one, it's stupid to have your phone out at a festival because you're going to drop it, break it, or lose it. Or it's going to get stolen. Mm-hmm. So actually, I don't think I think I have like probably a total of 5 videos from a festival from the music, because also you're not listening. You're spending 10 seconds trying to shove your phone back in your bag and not listening to a song, and the whole time you're sat there with your phone trying to film, you're missing your favourite song.
The last one I can remember doing that with was when we saw Mike Shinoda at
Reading
Festival.
Yeah.
The only reason I did for that is because he did this incredible sermon, is the only word I can use for it, about Chester.
But that's the thing, when you're filming something that you're filming it because you're never going to see it again.
Oh, I was crying.
That's a reason to film something. Like I wish I'd filmed. Who was it? I think it was Lethal Bizzle did a tribute to Chester Bennington, and then played Numb Encore. I wish I'd filmed that, because that's not something you can search up on YouTube and say, watch it live.
Never going to happen again.
Or I'm trying to think what else. So at Years and Years, to be fair, the video I still have is Worship, I think, which is one of my favourite songs by them. But he sang it differently to on the track. Yeah. Stuff like that I need to get this on camera because I'm never going to see it again. Fair enough.
Well, also I like, I was so amazed how good that was. Even just like the first warm-up acts, to this day I still can't find who that was, but I just remember being blown away. And when they played,
where was this at Years and Years?
Yeah. And
who was it? A woman?
It was some girl.
Yeah, she was
so
amazing.
Annoying. I don't know who it is, but I was stunned how good they were.
Mm-hmm.
So damn good.
I went through my iPad the other day and found the videos. Completely forgot how good it was. Because what was I was doing? Yeah, then I went on a whole spree of listening to all of it. I don't think Louise cared. I just played the entirety of the Communion album. But it unlocked album. Year 8 for me. It completely unlocked Year 8, and I could literally. I used to have this app on my phone, and it was like bootlegged YouTube videos. because I couldn't afford Spotify. So you just save the YouTube to it.
Oh,
And I remember I had like, this is before that, long before that album was released, was when they'd just done live versions of those songs. They hadn't even released them singles, like you couldn't listen to them on anything. So it was like a version of Eyes Shut, which I don't think you can find anywhere. Because it was done on like an E-piano with like a little drum pad.
Yeah.
They obviously redid the song for the single version. I can't find a version similar anywhere. I wish I could. I could picture the video cover, but I'd probably never find that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just reminded me of like sitting in ICT, ignoring my teacher and listening to Years and Years.
How could you, Amy? You learned such valuable lessons from ICT.
Well, actually, with ICT, I'd do all my work in 30 minutes and then just sit and do nothing for the rest of the lesson.
Why are you saying ICT? Don't you mean all lessons you've ever taken in your life?
ICT was easy to finish quickly because you were just given a task and then go. There's not much teaching involved,
yeah,
really.
but you've been like that with every class since year 1.
Well, no, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't agree, because
So
based on the way the lesson works,
yeah.
for example, English isn't very much 10 minutes teaching, do the rest of the work for the lesson. It's usually like 10 minutes teaching, half an hour work, 10 minutes, another little bit of work. It's broken up into chunks, I think, more so, and same with maths, because it's exercises that you do. Unless you're doing like a project-based lesson, yeah, but if it's project-based, then I wouldn't finish it.
I guess I don't know, I'm just assuming that about yourself because you are of abnormal intelligence for this family.
I'm saying it like the family aren't smart, they are.
Not the same way you are. It's very different.
Meaning?
Put in perspective for everyone that's listening. Amy, what were your predicted grades for your end of A2, please? If you want to tell everyone.
So awkward.
A
star, A.
There we go. And that's been pretty much, consistent for most of your life, being still top tier for everything. Whereas, because I think you have that, sort of laser focus and the sort of discipline to keep doing it as well. Whereas for myself, I definitely lack the discipline. I'd never put in the effort to know if I could reach the same level.
But I also think when it comes to academics, I do enjoy it.
That's
the difference. So
yeah.
But there's obviously things you're like, oh, I can't be bothered or whatever. But I've always enjoyed learning. From the age of 3, I was reading. So I've always wanted to know as much as I can.
Mine was different, similar but different things. Yours was everything. Mine's more specialised.
What, as in you wanted to know a lot about certain things?
Yeah. Whereas you wanted to know as much as you could about the entirety of the world around you.
And I think also, God, I sound like I'm at a job interview, but I would say I'm a perfectionist. My biggest flaw is I'm a perfectionist. That's like Key and Peele. Yeah, we can come to that later. But I think, and it does impact me genuinely in a lot of negative ways, but I'll come to that in a second. If I'm going to do something, I want to do it well. I want to do it properly. I don't like half-assing things. Otherwise, I just won't do it. Yeah. So if I feel like I'm not going to complete it, I won't try. I won't bother.
Okay.
Which was something that I struggled with during my GCSEs because I realised for my mental state, there was no way that I could revise perfectly. But otherwise, I wouldn't even get to the exam. I'd have a mental breakdown by then. So I had to let go of the control in certain areas and then stop trying to make everything. Oh, I have to revise all of this and done all the perfect notes and done all the questions. Religious studies, I think I revised them the day of the exam, made some key cards, still came out with an A star, but I stop it. Same with history. I had to just kind of take a step back, and you know what? I think I did better in my exams than I would have if I tried to do it perfectly, because I didn't. It's the sole 80-20 thing. You put in 80%, you get the 20% back.
Pareto's law.
Yeah. So I think if I had tried to put 100% in, I would have completely burned out, and I think I kind of came to grips with that by the time I got to A level, because I think I had a much more chilled approach to it and tried to work smart rather than hard. So it was starting with questions and then going back to the information rather than starting at the information and basically procrastinating and probably never doing the questions. I feel like I went off on a big tangent there.
I'm trying to think because there's certainly some bits that I did similar. I think maths for me, I can honestly say I put as much as I could. Not so much that I pursued it to A level, but for the entirety of my second year GCSE, because I enjoyed maths, but it was never anything that came easy to me. But every single Friday after school, me and Joe for an entire year made sure we had extra. We did an extra class after school. So it's just practice, and I scraped by with a B. But I know I did as much as I possibly could with that. Like I couldn't have got better. I know I worked hard for that.
Yeah.
Whereas AES, and again, it's the advantage and the disadvantage because of the AES level. I chose biology, psychology, philosophy, and English literature.
Don't know why you chose 4. Or did you have to?
AS, I had to.
You had to choose OC, whereas us, it's like you have to like beg to be allowed to do it.
Oh no, it's 4, and then you drop 1. Don't. Well, so
is it so that you can try it out and see if you like it?
I think so. I think it gives people more options so that you can then you're not
set in stone.
Like, this is shit.
Yeah, that's fair. That does make some sense. Yeah, kind of
ish. You can't see the logic. But like biology was really difficult because the opening lesson was like everything you've ever learned is a lie. So let's start again. You're like great. But I think that was just a chill lesson. Like we. Like, because the teachers didn't care. They were like, if you want to study, you study, and you listen to what I'm saying. Otherwise, I'm going to, That's the same with ours. They're very much like, if you don't want to come in, then don't. They weren't like that. So you had to come in. But if you didn't pay attention in class, they didn't care. Well, no, as in they said, if you don't want to come in, don't, but you will get kicked out of the school. Oh, right, okay. And you will have no A-levels. Yeah. But they said, we're not going to chase you up. If you want to ruin your life, ruin your life. Same for us then, yeah. But I mean, biology was just, for perspective, it was Kirsty, me, Joe, and Kyle. Oh, God. And dream team. And so I mean, like me and Joe and like a few other people would go back home on lunch, play poker, get drunk, go back to school. I can happily say I've never got drunk at college because one, my lessons didn't work out that way and I always had work. 2, I never had Louisa's ID on me. I mean, I was underage. Why would I have gone to the pub? Exactly. And when I did, I was revising all the time. So I'd go to the pub in the evening. Like, I'd probably go like Tuesday or Wednesday, because we always had Wednesdays off. Yeah. Go down for a pint. But other than, I don't like day drinking anyway. It's just weird. Yeah, I got past that and I was just like... and also, I can't function drunk. 1, I drive. I would have driven home. That's a small part of that. Yeah. So, there's just absolutely not. Yeah. And secondly, even if I wasn't driving, just trying to concentrate in A-levels. Because that was my thing is... I hate doing work out of school. I would do absolutely anything I can to not have to work at home. So I would try and focus as much as I could in the lesson, do all of my work, and then I'd only have homework to do. I never had to catch up on it because I'd done it all. Yeah. Because there's nothing I hate, as much as I used to do it, nothing I hate more than revising. Well, this was what I was trying to get at with my A-level choices, because for the first year, because biology I didn't care, I didn't put the effort in. And psychology, philosophy, and English was just a walk in the park because I was good at it. And AS was, I could do all the work the night beforehand and get good marks. Yeah. So I was like, cool. And so I thought I could do that for A2. Second year's a different ballgame. Big mistake. And so I came in like bottom for a lot. And I think I got really disillusioned. I just didn't put the effort in to stay in that and to get any better than that. There's personal reasons as well. I just stopped going to school quite as much because I thought there was more important things to be doing outside school, which they were important, but they weren't as that important to be putting that much time in. So much so that I got so many warnings from like my head of year and shit like that. Like I remember waking up one day being like, "Yeah, I should go to school," and I was like, "No, I'm going back to bed." And then like literally an hour in, I'm getting a call from my head, and I was like, "Oh fuck." I mean, there was people at college I actually forgot went to college. Yeah. I'd be like, have you left? And so one of my friends who did like BTEC sport or something finished all of his coursework 3 months early and then just didn't come in for the rest of the 3 months. I was like, fair enough. I thought he'd left. He was like, no, I'm finished and I've got a job now. I was like, that's different. He's done the work. And then the rest of the year, I think he just did it all at home. Yeah, I didn't do the work. I was just lazy. It's weird thinking about college because I'm not there anymore, considering I've left with absolutely no closure. It was literally... We were sat in the car park one day. I said, I reckon this is our last day. Get an email the next day saying, don't come in. And that's it. That's it. Thank fuck the government were like, yeah, we'll take your predicted grades. Because I remember you being like, what the fuck am I going to do? Because it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, I'm like, fuck's sake, I've put so much effort in to not get the satisfaction of sitting these exams, knowing it had paid off, opening that thing and knowing I've earned this. Yeah. On the other hand, because I worked hard, it's paid off
because I've consistently worked hard. Because a lot of people will do the usual, don't do any work for the 2 years and then last minute pull it out the bag. Because I was consistent, I've been lucky in that my predicted and mock grades are 110% better than what I would have got. There's no way I was going to get 3 A stars.
I was going to say that, and also because I'm definitely guilty to this as well. For like a mock grade, for a mock test, I wouldn't give a crap.
Yeah.
I'd be like, just a practice for the big one. But you were like, nah, it's very fortunate that you had the mentality that I've always been like
that with tests, because I also like to know where I am.
You would have been like,
yeah. I would have been fucked.
Yeah.
I like to know where I am with things. I like to know, okay, well, if this is where I am with this amount of... Because, to be honest, if I can get away with doing less work, then I will. So let's say, for example, I went into the mocks...
work smart, not hard.
And I got higher than I needed. I'm like, okay, well, I can do just as much, if not a little bit less, and get the same.
Yeah.
If, for example... So then, with my mocks, put in a fair bit of effort, and I was like, well, if I just keep doing what I was doing, I'll be absolutely fine, because I came out with 3 A stars.
Yeah.
If anything, I could do a little bit less work, and I can still go to the pub 3 times a week. So... the
important thing.
I like to know that I'm not wasting my time, because I hate wasting time. I like, making the most of it.
I found that I kind of discovered that sort of later on in life. I think because when I went from sort of secondary school to sort of suit selling, because of I was never working like a full amount of time. It was just like a good laugh. Like
yeah.
I'd go to work. First 6 weeks were hell, and then I just clicked and I was good at it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, cool, yeah, I'm going to go work. I'm going to do like 6 or 7 hours. And then I'll meet you boys. You were working as well. Sweet, you're working at Top Man. You're working at Next. We'll go, have a drink down the pub afterwards, because we're 18, 19. It's all cool. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, cool. And I'll see my girlfriend over the weekend, whatever. And then things just happen, and obviously some things end. And you're like, cool, okay, now I need to do something with my life. And I think I got the understanding from appreciating of the time is when I went and did a estate agency, because I went from doing 30 hours a week to 70.
That's
like,
just,
six,
I just don't even understand how that
8
happens.
till 7 every day.
I don't understand how they got away with that.
It's a part of the contract. At the beginning of my contract, it said you would sign here to accept the fact you'd be working more than the allotted 39 hours a week. And you're like, fine, whatever.
You sign your life away, essentially.
Well, it was interesting, because the time I joined it, I had a lot of energy. So I had the energy to do it. I was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, 19. I had a lot of energy to do it. I'm going to buy a new mic stand.
Yeah. It's doing my head.
That's just so stupid. I had a lot of energy to do it. So I was doing that. So a typical week for me would be a Monday, get up at 6, go get to work for 8, finish work at 7, go to training, finish training at 9, go to the studio, do music, finish that at 12, get home for 1.
Wake up at 6.
Wake up at 6, repeat.
How did you not burn out?
I didn't stop. For 10 months.
See, I would have done lasted 2 weeks.
Didn't stop.
I can't handle full on.
It's a cortisol level, like Mum explained it to me. It's because you're running at optimum the entire time.
Yeah.
Your body, you don't give your body a time to crash.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So
it's like
permanent
permanent
stress. As soon as I had a week off, it was just I didn't leave the house.
Now that you say it like that, I am the same, because that's why at the end of terms I get ill, because I'm non-stop stressed, and as soon as I relax, I'm like, oh, here comes the tonsillitis again.
Exactly.
And then the problem is, once I get relaxed, I can't get stressed out again, or I get really stressed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's weird to me. Wait, so when did you start Moss? What age were you?
The first time.
Yeah. Did you start at 16 or 8?
I started in October 2013, so I would have been 18.
Interesting. Literally me and Lou both started working at 16.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I finished year 11, I had the job. I left in June, and I started my job in September.
Literally just turned 18 for me.
Yeah, but I think for me, because I wasn't at school and I was going into college, and it was more of an independent thing, I needed my own money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, looking back, if I didn't have a job, I wouldn't be able to go out.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to do anything.
No, nothing would happen. Yeah.
And also, were you driving? You weren't driving straight away, were you? You weren't driving at 17.
Mm-mm.
You started learning late. I'm so sure you did.
No, hang on. No, yeah, okay, so it would have been 18 because I turned. Oh, yeah, I would have been 18 when I started driving. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
see,
17.
that's
so
the
I had
thing.
my provisional, but I didn't start driving until 18.
Me and Louise started driving on our birthdays,
Yeah.
our 17th birthdays.
Mhm.
But because I went to college in Henley, I had to be able to get there, and I refused to get up at 6 to go to get the bus.
Yeah, I got my car in February 2014.
Yeah, see, I got my first car in January 2019.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So for me, not driving was not an option. I had to have a car. And I had to be able to drive. So, and then obviously to fund that, I had to have a job. So, you know, and to be fair, I paid for most of my holiday. I paid for my festivals that I went to.
Mm-hmm.
I did spend majority of my money on food and drink. But
that's the big killer. People talk about people talk about, oh, you got big spending on electronics or, you know, clothes or whatever. Nah, it's food. But then, I think that is us as well as a family.
That's what I was going to say, because, you know, a lot of people will rebel with drink, drugs, smoking, this, that, and the other partners. Growing up with a mother as a nutritionist,
but was also very liberal about the alcohol cupboard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We rebelled with food.
Yeah, mum.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I mean, this isn't vodka, but cheers.
Yeah, cheers. To be fair, it was a good move because it means we didn't go catatonic.
Oh, no, honestly, I feel like you meet the people with strict parents and they are off the rails, whereas we're just kind of like, Mum, do you want to smoke some weed with us? And she might probably tell you to fuck off, or she'll say, can I have a toke? You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, that happened once, and I don't think it'll ever happen again.
Yeah,
but it still
depends how wrong people are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm always grateful to Mum for that, but it does manifest in that I spend all my money on food, and that as soon as I walk into other people's houses, I know where the food cupboard is. I've probably already taken a packet of crisps out, cooked myself some pasta and ordered a delivery.
It where it is, you're like...
I know my Emma's mum the other day, today I was texting her saying, oh, thank you for having us, I'll be round soon. And she just replied saying...
You're texting Emma's mum?
Yeah, why not?
Love it.
And she just replied saying, stocked up the cupboard and fridge for you. She said, I like that you're letting yourself in now to get the food. She said it makes it easier.
I think it's really like heartwarming because Joe and Nathan are the exact same. Like Nathan doesn't knock on the door; he just walks through the door.
I know. With Holly and Emma,
I love it.
I know where the keys are. I know where the food is. I know the rules, which cups I'm allowed to use, how to make pasta in the house. Yeah, the basics, you know.
But yeah, I mean,
where the toilet rolls kept.
Those two are a great example because they'll just walk in and they know exactly where everything is. And they start making themselves tea. They get a drink. They know where the fridge is, and it's like, I love it. I mean, less so now. I mean, they've already both been here once because obviously we moved. But with the old house,
in the old house, they knew everything was.
Yeah. I mean, they both just walk in and just be like this, hey, what's up, man? But
I like that because...
I loved it, yeah.
And also you develop a level of respect for things in the people's houses because you know how it works.
Absolutely. Well, that's why we never had any... nothing of value ever got broken because... I think Mum and Dad was very smart looking back at it. They made sure they met everyone before the drinking started. Yeah. And so people had that face-to-face they could attach to it.
Can't say the same for mine, but I mean, I think nobody was home most of the time, so...
Yeah, but also
And also my friends are very respectful with stuff.
Exactly.
They're a bit clumsy, but they're not that kind of people.
Exactly. Same with me. The people I've always spent, well, not always, but recently, in the last 5 years, I've spent 6 years, the people I've spent time in my house with, I've got to have that trust and have the respect for each other's possessions, and they...
Well, I just wouldn't let people... I wouldn't let people in the house that I thought would mess up. It's a rookie mistake. No. But what I like with Holly and Emma is... Because you know that it's so open about taking food, you're probably actually more respectful in asking, can I have this? Is this okay? Because, like in Holly's house, orange juice, you ask before you have, and you're probably only allowed a small glass. It's like gold dust in that house.
Interesting, okay.
Orange juice is the sacred, or like people have their own juice.
It's the sacred cow of the Brian Boy family.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, in our house, any food that isn't butter, milk, pasta or rice or like a sauce, you have to ask before you eat. Or like cheese, do you know what I mean? Like something that you can put, if it's not something you can put in a sandwich or boil in a pan, you need to ask before you eat.
I do think back sometimes to the sort of shit I used to eat. Like having the fridge in my room was good and horrific at the same time.
Oh, that's gonna be me, you know.
Because I'd have I go through like I remember one time when I was having like a monster a day.
Oh god.
In year 9.
You should meet some of my mates. They call them stirs.
Stirs.
I had my first. The other day when I asked you about the monster.
I like stirs.
they said, "Can you bring me some stirs?" And I was like, "What the?" I was like, "Spoons? I don't understand." What? They're like, "Monsters."
Yeah, ladles.
And I told them that I had to ask you which one the original one was.
Green one, yeah.
The green one.
Their flavours have gone through the roof.
It's actually nice though.
They're real good.
I tried some,
they've always been
and
good.
they said they said we've got you on a monster addiction. They said next stop cocaine. I was like, don't think that's how the gateway works, but sure.
Other way around. Come on.
Come on.
They
Cocaine's a gateway drug to what? Crack.
No, to Monster, obviously.
It's
called Monster for a reason. No, they've always been good. Like the flavors we've always had here have always been great. Even
Yeah.
like they had like iced tea, original, the new like punch ones, and I can't remember what the one's called. It's like a camel kind of colour on it, like the whole can. Beautiful. It's so tasty.
See, my mates
so
are saying
tasty.
that they taste how they look.
Yes. Good
That
way
you
to
look
put
at
it.
the can, they taste. They said, "What flavour is this?" They said green.
Yeah. No,
So it's fair, and you know what? It does
you
taste
pour
like
it out,
green.
you're like, yeah, green, yeah.
It does taste like green.
Do you remember in Role Models when they're selling Minotaur, taste the
God.
beast, and he's like peeing in the urinal, and it's like dark green. It's like, oh, it's like Shrek's piss.
For God's sake, Dad loves that film. You know.
It's such a good film.
Okay, top 5 films that have made you like properly laugh out loud. Or top 3, or not even top 3. Name 3.
What are we classing as? We're not including like comedy stand-up specials. It's just
I'm talking about
like,
a film,
actual
a fictional film.
Yeah,
that's
try
made
and
you.
tighten that. That might not work, but let's give it a go.
This one,
No, the other one, the big one. There you go.
I think it's.
Yeah, push it up. Push the stand up. Sorry, in your left, the mic up. Yeah, okay. Any better? Don't, no, not that way.
I'm just retyping it.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Alright, I'll buy a new one. Okay.
So any film that like
Top 5.
you know, like when you laugh, like I mean, you laugh at everything, but
I like to laugh, man.
the ones that like the whole way through non-stop crying, like stomach hurting, kind of laughing. Go for 3. So I can name 2 already.
Alright, you go. While you're doing that, I've got a way to make this work. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep talking. Go on.
So for me, I'd say Just Go With It, Adam Sandler.
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of laughing out loud, to this day, still find it hilarious. Spy,
That's a good.
because you just it gets better. I think every time you watch it.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
Films that really made me laugh. I'm trying to think of a third. Do you know what I think at the time of watch? Oh, Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, I watched that yesterday.
Thor Ragnarok will never not make me laugh.
Yeah.
Taika Waititi is.
I watched that yesterday. That was
Brilliant,
very good.
absolutely
that was a
brilliant.
very good film.
It's just the humour. It's just brilliant.
Well, the Marvel ones are very special because, especially with people like Chris Hemsworth, Jeremy Renner,
Yeah.
RDJ, they make up all the things that are funny about those shows. They make up.
Yeah.
So it's less about Joss Whedon or Joe Russo. It's all of it. They
actors
give the
themselves,
actors
yeah.
leeway. Yeah, I mean Ragnarok's the best one because all of it is just fucking funny.
But that's what I liked is that because you have your typical Marvel humour, which is like quips or, you know.
Did he just say "gosh darn"?
I was literally just about to say that, like silly things.
No,
It's like,
did he just say language?
yeah, it's like, you know, little quips and little old digs at each other.
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok is just weird.
You got Jeff Goldblum, of course. It's weird.
No, but and it's directed by Taika Waititi, the man who made a
Well,
film about Hitler
okay.
being someone's imaginary friend. Like, it's not going to be normal, is it? Jojo
Rabbit. Yeah.
I honestly like his humor. I like weird and wonderful stuff. I'm just like, I don't like Eric Andre show.
Yeah. Oh, he's got a new stand.
Most people will be watching it going, I don't understand what is happening, and it's like that's the point.
He brought out a new stand-up 2 days ago.
Oh, I'll give it a watch.
I've got it on my phone. Yeah.
But what I love about Thor Ragnarok is Thor goes from being the serious god character to just being an absolute twat. Even the beginning, he's spinning round.
I watched it last night.
Going, oh, sorry, I can't see you. Give
I
me a
watched
minute.
it last night with Matt, and he's there like, I am Thor, son of Odin. Hold on.
I'm still turning.
Turning around.
Hang on 1 minute.
And he's just like, and he comes back, he's like, carry on. And the guy's like, oh yes, I was smudged in half. He's like, hold on, I'm going again.
Yeah, and what I like about it is there's literally no serious moments.
Yeah, but he's also just like, look, I'm not even moving. Like, it's just still turning.
But I also love the fact that Taika Waititi put himself in the film as a thing made of he's Korg.
No.
Taika Waititi's Korg.
That's Korg.
Yeah.
Did I show you Planet Hulk?
Long time ago.
So that's
It's inspired,
it's
isn't
the
it?
original, yeah. So it's the cartoon where they basically evicted Hulk from Earth because he was too angry.
Yeah.
And you
Sounds
meet
like me.
you meet Korg, you meet Meek, and
Wait, Korg is in Planet Hulk,
yeah. So
What?
Korg's there.
but he's not He's not New Zealand,
no,
is he?
no. He's
Kiwi.
I think he might be Michael Clark Duncan actually. The
I recognise the name.
black guy from Green Mile.
I haven't seen Green Mile. Don't go.
Have you seen Armageddon?
No.
I don't know what you might have seen him in actually. Anyway, he's this huge dude, so
Yeah.
it suits Korg perfectly. But he's got the real deep, gravelly voice, like "Hi, my name's Korg."
So they go from
Planet's
that
hot,
to,
hot. Yeah.
"Oh, you're right, I'm Korg.
My name's Korg.
This
He's
is
just
Meek.
like, he's like, "Fuck off, ghost."
Fuck off, ghost."
That it's weird. I can't take that voice seriously because it sounds like the main non-player characters from Far Cry 3,
Right.
and they're all there like, "Oh, hello."
I just love it in is it in Infinity War? It's like, "Thor, they're being mean to me again."
Endgame. He's like, "Hey Thor, that kid called me a prick again."
What's his name? Listeners.
Yeah, he's got Xbox headset on. Yeah,
That's what I
And it's
liked about
Is
that kind of.
that better if you call? Yep, thank you.
That's what I liked about going forward with those films is that just got stupider and stupider, and they're taking the piss out of themselves.
Yeah, I love it. No one does that better than Deadpool.
I was literally just about to say Deadpool.
It's just like where he's like, fourth wall break instead of fourth wall. That's like 16 walls.
Have you seen the second one?
No, I need to. I've heard it's so good.
Good film, really
I've
good
heard
film.
it's so damn
I've only
good.
seen it once. We'll have to get it and watch it. But
It's got Dolph Lundgren in for some reason.
is he the bad guy in it?
I don't know.
I think so. And the kids, this little, they love the New Zealand people. This little, I think Kiwi's the right word, right?
That's New Zealand, yeah.
But is there like different ethnicities? Or who knows?
Don't know.
But yeah, he's
that's a
he's
good
like,
question.
he's like
actually.
the main kid in it.
Hmm.
Really funny as well. This little like tubby kid. Bless him.
So good.
But yeah, no, I'm. So, X-Men or MCU?
Mm-hmm. See, I grew up with X-Men,
Mm-hmm.
so it's different for me.
See, I think in terms of actual storyline, I'm not a massive fan of the trilogy, the first trilogy.
Agreed. The first one's good, and the other two are shit.
Days of Future Past,
Excellent.
excellent film.
Wolverine. Wolverine Origins. Excellent.
X-Men Origins.
The Wolverine. Pretty good. Logan. Crying.
No, but X-Men Origins with...
But Wolverine.
No, X-Men... First Class, yeah.
Very good film.
Oh,
Fantastic film.
I think it's my favourite. Because for me...
Days of Future Past, you end up... I think you have to watch the first three, because there's
To understand the characters.
Yeah, because there's spoiler alert. There's moments in like Days of Future Past where they kill Colossus.
Yeah.
And you're there just like,
Yeah.
you're really like crying because you've known who this person was, and like
Yeah.
Iceman when he dies, and I can't remember who Ellen Page plays.
Oh, she's the one going like...
She's the memory. I can't
remember what her name is.
thing. Yeah, I can't remember what her character was. But yeah, I mean, like those, yeah, so cool.
But what I think when it came to the... I guess you could call it second trilogy. I don't know, prequels, sequels, whatever it
The
is.
second trilogy was.
So it would have been the two prequels and then the sequel.
Yeah, it's the McAvoy,
Apocalypse.
Fassbender.
Yeah, anything with them guys in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they kind of... The characters had started to make a bit more sense. And I think just the way the stories was told was better, and the whole mutant universe made more sense.
Well, they got more funding, obviously, because they still under
the
the
cast
same
was
fantastic cast,
amazing.
still under the same umbrella as MCU, but they just have different wings.
Yeah.
But still working with the multi-universe layer, and yeah, so I think that's why they develop. So again, we're so clever. It's the first X-Men film ever. So obviously you got these Marvel multiverse.
Yeah.
When Logan wakes up and runs through the school, he stumbles into a class by Xavier, and Xavier is saying, "Right, I need you all to study the anthropic principle and come back to me tomorrow and talk about it." And the anthropic principle talks about the multi-universe and how the universe exists
genius.
in a way that we are able to perceive it.
Isn't that the principle where it's
clever.
like each universe is based around a prime species? So, for example, our universe has us at the center of it, and the universe that we exist in is in such a way that we understand it. So, for example,
Yes.
there's going to be a universe where dogs are at the centre of it and they understand it.
Or
A different kind of life form.
Another one would be so our universe is made out of carbon. Another one would be the universe is made out of, I don't know, nitrogen.
A nitrogen-based life form.
Yeah. So somewhat like you have a liquid universe and you have a solid. For
or
example,
a different kind of
or you'd have a
state or something.
some sludge. But yeah, exactly right. But I think that's just genius that they still
that
put it in there, because then it sort of explains the multiverse throughout Marvel as well.
What do you think about universes if you want to get a little bit deep and a bit weird?
If you listen to people like Neil deGrasse Tyson or
Not
Brian,
to be confused with Mike Tyson, by the way, guys.
or Brian Cox, not to be confused with Brian Cox.
Classic Brian.
Yeah, Brian. I loved him in anyway. I loved him in X-Men, and
Was he in X-Men?
he was X-Men 2.
Didn't play Brian Cox today.
No, he didn't play himself. He played Colonel William Stryker, who made
Brian Cox played Stryker.
Yeah, who made in the second one.
What a twat.
Who made Wolverine? Who he was?
Yeah. I mean, about 6 different actors played Stryker.
3.
No, how did Brian Cox play him? He's an old man in the second one.
Yeah. Which point?
Are there 2 Brian Coxes?
No. Yeah, so one's an actor and one is
I thought you meant Professor Brian Cox.
No, that's why I said not to be confused with Brian Cox.
Northern Brian Cox was...
So Northern Brian Cox is an astrophysicist.
Yeah.
Actor Brian Cox
Right, see, I thought you were just saying his
No.
name twice for the banter.
No, that's why I said... Okay.
It's a bit late.
Right.
As you can tell, academics, yes. General life, not so much.
Okay. Anyway, going back, those 2 guys would perpetrate that because the size of the universe that it is, and for us to back up, for us to exist where we are, we live in a Goldilocks zone, which means that if we were an inch too far away from the sun, we'd freeze. An inch too close, we'd burst into a flame.
So we're in a perfect spot.
Literal exact spot to support life.
Yeah.
And he says that the chances of that are so small, but the universe is so incalculably big that it is more likely that there is an identical version of you in this universe, which only ever did one thing mildly different compared to your life. Everything else happened around that. So there's trillions upon trillions of different variables, and the difference could literally be
blinking.
You winked with one eye, and that's it. But everything else before and after this, the entire life experience, type of decisions you ever made before that. So that's statistics, just based on size.
Statistics, yeah. There's the chances of us being the only life form to ever exist.
It's impossible.
It's
impossible.
It just doesn't happen.
But the question is, what do those other life forms? What form do they take? But that's not the question. In regards to universes, it's one of those things that unless we have a subtle knife from Philip Pullman, or if we have the ability of Doctor Strange, we're never going to know.
Yeah.
It's statistically, it's likely, but we're not going to know, because it would certainly, it's a theory that would certainly explain why we are in this Goldilocks zone, besides being a divine, benevolent creator, well, not benevolent, but a divine creator. And the idea being that the universe exists in a way that we do understand it, which is very interesting. But there's also the determinism, there's also the simulation theory, so it all kind of ties in together.
And it also depends whether or not you believe in innatism. Because if you're, for people who don't know, an innatist is somebody who, in terms of knowledge, believes that we are kind of born knowing certain things, or born with an inclination to know certain things. I think that's Leibniz's belief on it. It was like an inclination.
Roughly,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so they kind of said that science, maths, sense of self are all things that we're born with innately, and everybody should be able to understand. So by that logic, it could be that, am I talking about empiricism?
Well, you're touching on the work of the great Descartes as well, which obviously we know and love very well.
I absolutely hate him. I may have a group chat called Descartes fan club, but other than that,
we all think, therefore we are.
Yeah, but I also think that he's a twat, therefore he is a twat.
So is Aristotle at some point. Come on.
Yeah, but Aristotle makes more. Aristotle actually says something about the world. Aristotle actually says
he does, and he is arguably
don't be too much of a twat, but don't be too little a bit of a twat. Just be a bit of one.
And he is arguably the single most important human to ever exist, arguably, for Western civilization.
However, Descartes just says, well, I was bored, rich, and had nothing better to do, so
Most
philosophers... I just thought a lot, and to be honest, most of it doesn't make any sense.
I'd say most philosophers will come from a place of privilege, because if they were actually having to do shit...
They wouldn't have that much time to think.
They wouldn't be thinking, nah. I mean, look at us right now. Fucking armchair philosophers right here. But it does raise interesting... They do raise important points that is pertinent to existence.
Well, I think also just in order to question society as well.
Yes.
You have to understand the different ways of looking at things to understand what's going on. Like, from a moral philosophy point of view, you have to think, do I believe this because it's universally true, because everybody thinks it and everybody knows this is true? Or do I believe it because it's what I've been told? Or am I feeling a certain way about something because it's an emotional response? So I think philosophy is good for developing your own opinions and having your own, thoughts.
Well, that's what I've from an early age, I contemplated my own sort of existence. Like, in my mind's eye, I would zoom out from myself and view the whole universe as a whole. I'd
have an existential crisis.
It never bothered me. It was. I found it really reassuring, because it made whatever problems I had really small.
See, I used to, when I was younger, get really bad existential crises, and you just lie there and you're like, what is the point? Not from a place of being depressed or anything, but you're just like, what is the point of anything?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get into it because I will have one, but I think you kind of have to just accept that you exist, which I think maybe from a deep point, that is what Descartes was kind of saying. Like, yes. I do exist. Yeah, I exist, and therefore I should fucking enjoy it and do as much as I can with it. Yeah,
I think it's that's the extrapolation from it. But yeah, I mean that's why I chose philosophy as a mild discipline for A level, because I always tried to find something. That's why I really liked English up until that point, because I really liked the different interpretations you can have from things, and form and prose and flowing and grammar, and it all tied in quite well. So I did psychology, philosophy, and English. They all worked perfectly together. Like, I could use Freud in all of them, for example.
Yeah. Poor weirdo Freud.
Yeah, well, he had some disturbing fantasies.
I mean, his name was Sigmund. Do
you
know what I mean? You can't have a good life.
He has some disturbing fantasies, and he just happened to well, if I've got them, everyone else does. There you go.
Well, I mean,
there you go.
He had a bit of a problem with eating things that he shouldn't be. He had an edible complex. I hate myself. I really hate myself.
Fuck's sake.
Absolutely hate myself. This is why I deserve to have an existential crisis for that.
No, okay. We'll look at this past one. I mean, they're both weird. I mean, like him, both. In my head, I've already talked about Jung. Sebastian Jung. They're both weird. Sebastian Jung? Is it Sebastian?
I think
Jung?
we're just making up words at this point. I think
it's Jung. I'm talking Freud and Jung is what I'm trying to talk about. I might be confused between Sebastian and Jung.
I'm trying to check the time, but my watch says 7:20, and it has done for the last year. So,
why have you not sorted out the watch I got you?
Lazy. It's on my list. I've got a list of appointments to book.
Give it to me. I'll get it done.
Okay. Well, not right now.
Yeah, well, you're wearing it now. I'm not going to wear it now. I mean, it would fit me, but I'm not going to wear it now.
It wouldn't.
Yeah, it would.
Do you want to try it on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Might be a bit clammy.
No.
So, just thinking about the podcast thing.
Okay, no.
Maybe add 2 more links to it. There is a guy who does podcasts. What is his bloody name? I want to say it begins with a D. D3.
Dax Shepard.
No, have you got a phone on you? Let me just search it up.
Yeah, it's there. Hey.
Laptop? Is your laptop open or something? I think it's like D3 Productions or something on YouTube.
Okay.
And he interviews I've watched ones with him like Post Malone and stuff like that. Post Malone's a fucking cool guy.
Yeah,
from what I've seen, he's so chilled, but he's actually interesting as well.
Yeah, he seems pretty cool.
But I've seen a lot of people who go and look at the podcast and they'll edit it just to make absolutely no sense. So they'll just take clips and then put them in orders, and they probably condensed a 30-minute podcast into a 2-minute video of just the weirdest things that were said and making it repeating things and putting filters on it and stuff. So I mean, bit of a child, but it's so funny.
No, it's funny. Well, I mean the ones. I'll have a look anyway. I mean the ones for I was talking to Josh about on the first one. How that I might inadvertently I've got D3, which is riding with 3 RIS and Nalrio.
Try H3.
So D3 H3.
try H. Just put H3 in. See what comes up.
All right. Yeah, I've got They See Me Rolling for some reason. H3. Trying to catch me riding down.
Can you turn the laptop around a bit so I can see?
H3 podcast, yeah.
There you go, H3 podcast.
Eric Andre's on it.
Oh, I need to watch
shit,
that.
son.
He has some really good.
Mark Rebelle, lovely. Jake Paul. The Karen invasion. Oh, dude.
Yeah, they talk about. I think his name's Ethan, the guy that does it.
Oh, you got Post Malone and Joji.
Post Malone's was brilliant. I loved it.
Oh man, that sounds really cool actually.
Favourite Post Malone interview of all time obviously has to be with Corrupt FM.
Oh, sorry, someone eating an octopus.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm good. The did you watch the Andrew Schultz thing Dad showed posted earlier? Did you watch it?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, it's the usual shit.
Usual shit.
I enjoyed his I love me some Andrew Schultz. He has some good points. The problem is because of us as the public, we are hearing one person saying this person's good, now the person's saying actually they let all this stuff happen. They're doing this for that reason, that for that.
But who do you believe?
Exactly. So
Because
I'm like, it's very interesting, but I don't care.
And
Because I'm not going to spend time on it. I'm like, I don't really care. It's just interesting to hear
and
different things.
With a lot of those things is, you can say, "Oh, stop being a sheep, stop listening to the mainstream media," which is true to an extent. But then if you then believe everything that the opposite side is telling you, then you're doing the exact same thing, just from a different point of view. That doesn't make you woke. That doesn't mean you're thinking for yourself.
Well, I'm glad you said that word because
I wish I hadn't now.
No. Because I remember using that with you a couple of months ago, and it was very It was very interesting, and I was very refreshed to hear you have a different perspective to it. Because woke to me is, as I understand it, is use the right pronoun. Don't say this word, don't say that word. Be extra sensitive around people. Whereas, how do you see woke?
So I first heard woke being used a few years ago, and I mean, I think the right context that I think of it is like in Redbone by Childish Gambino. Stay woke is what he keeps repeating in the chorus. To me, being woke is, I mean, if you think about something like 1984 or whatever, to be woke is to, not have the wool pulled over your eyes and just be aware of what's going on and not taking everything with a pinch of salt and realising that there's more to life than Western civilization or what the media is telling you. Doesn't mean you have to be, doubt everything and be a flat earth or whatever. It just means that you need to, have control over your own life. So if, for example, you wanted to pursue something that was different to the way society views everything, you should be able to do it yourself. And, living your life as you want it to be, not as how the world tells you a life should be lived.
Yep.
That's how I see being woke, and being woke is being in a state of realising that the way that the world is now isn't how it always has been. And if anything, it's been fabricated recently in terms of you've got certain people at the top and certain people at the bottom, and things are kept in this order, and this is done to do that. I'm not going to get too much into it because it's quite depressing, but it's just being aware that you should have control of your own life. And that's why I don't, I think when it comes to stuff like pronouns, I'm not one to tell somebody what they want to be called.
I agree.
It's not my life. It doesn't affect me.
Yep.
I think people are allowed to make mistakes.
Yes.
For example, if I knew somebody who was transgender, I think it's completely disrespectful to go out of your way to use the wrong pronoun deliberately.
Yeah.
Because some people do that. They think it's funny. They think it's,
I agree.
they do it to bully them. That's out of order.
Yeah.
If somebody makes a mistake,
Yep.
we should live in a society where you should be able to ask, and it's not rude.
And we should live in a society where you're allowed to make that mistake, and that person is, and you should not get penalised for making a mistake. It's like if I.
It's like, for example, if you had somebody from somewhere in Africa who was albino,
yep,
and you mistaking them for a white person,
but they're African.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to know. Or you do get some people who are you get men who are particularly feminine, and you get females who are particularly masculine, and it's using, the wrong, identify them as the wrong sex.
Yeah. I'm
not going to say the word gender because that's going to whole new argument. Obviously not with you, but in general.
Yeah.
The wrong chromosome. It's the same thing, and it's you shouldn't be punished for that. You should be like,
I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah, or it should be, I'm actually whatever. Can you call me this?
Well, it's
yeah, of course.
But it's like, for example, Caitlyn Jenner. If people were to go up to her, no, but if people were to go up to her and go, "Oh, Bruce," or call her
Brucey boy.
him,
Yeah.
that's rude.
Yes.
Because she's clearly said,
yes,
"I'm a transgender woman."
Caitlyn Jenner's an interesting.
I don't know enough about her to.
The joke about that one of the many jokes is Bruce Jenner became Caitlyn because they couldn't stay in a home with that many ridiculously successful, crazy females and not become one of them or go insane. And the other joke is that as Bruce Jenner, she killed a woman in her car.
Oh, I did actually hear about that.
And then very soon after that became Caitlyn Jenner. So the argument, joke is that she did that to get away with murder. But again, everyone knows this, and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of the jokes are just incredible. It's just they're like, on one of the roasts was like, "Oh, Caitlyn Jenner, what a beautiful, beautiful woman you ran over the other day."
See, when
it's so funny, but it's that's a sign where it goes mad because she got Woman of the Year. She's not even a fucking woman. She killed someone, and she wasn't even a woman for a year.
Yeah. And
we're celebrating this, and you're like, okay,
yeah,
interesting.
And it's not even it's not even from a place of transphobia. It's the fact that she killed someone. Do you know what I mean? And this is what frustrates me is that sometimes, for example, I'm trying to think how to word it.
Mm-hmm.
Being Sri Lankan, okay. If I was I don't personally suffer from racism, if any.
Yep.
But if it was a prevalent thing of you can't say anything, or like I was feeling really, really oppressed. I don't think it's right to say, "Oh, you're saying that because I'm Asian." You're, like, if I was being a dickhead or I was being really rude, someone called me rude about, "Oh, you're saying that because I'm Asian." I don't think people should be afraid to criticize people who feel oppressed if they're doing something wrong. Like, for example, there was a boy at my secondary school who was gay, absolute arsehole. Nothing to do with the fact that he was gay. He was just an arsehole. And you shouldn't be afraid to say somebody's an arsehole because,
yep.
If everybody's equal, then you should treat everybody equally.
Yep.
And it's not a thing of, "Oh, I don't see colour," because that's not how it works. But it's that colour shouldn't influence my opinion of somebody. That's how you should phrase that.
Exactly.
And you should recognise colour because every colour is beautiful, but you need to.
And you can, and hopefully you're not colourblind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people are.
But
some people.
There's some people who find a beauty in the difference.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Shaq's girlfriend, that's part of the appeal because he has that gorgeous fucking dark skin.
Yeah.
For example, I'm sure that is a part of it for some people. But
I think because people say talk about positive discrimination. I don't anyway, but I just don't think that skin colour should influence any decision, any opinion, any decision because it's literally the pigment of melatonin, melanin in your skin.
Yeah.
And in terms of equality, racial equality. That's what it should be. There should be no factor.
Unless you're Taye Diggs applying to be an Eskimo in a film, there might be a slight confusion there. But I mean, unless reflection of sun ray off the snow is a real thing.
I find stuff to do with race sometimes quite difficult to comment on.
What? Why?
Because being half Asian, half white, I've probably received all the privilege of being white, but I don't view myself as white.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, like, if anyone asks, I say I'm brown.
Yep.
I don't think I'm white.
Yep.
But other than being called a couple of racial slurs, I can't think of any way in which being brown has caused other people to put me at a disadvantage in my life. I can't think of one, personally. Not in the way that other people face it.
Yeah,
Never.
I agree.
And it's interesting. I don't know if interesting. People always say to me, "You don't look Asian."
Yeah, I get that.
You don't look Asian, and so what if I did look Asian?
Yeah, would that change your opinion on me?
How would you react then? Like, "Oh, you look European. You look Spanish."
Yeah.
I'm like, is that supposed to be a compliment? Because I don't see how it is.
I don't
Because people say it like, yeah, you don't look Asian, you look more like Portuguese. Yeah, I'd say Portuguese. It's like, thanks.
It's an odd thing to sort of distinguish. Like I take interest in people sometimes because I generally want to know. Like I've got someone at work who is half Polish, half Libyan. That's interesting. And I was like, where exactly is Libya? So we pulled up a map. She showed me where it was. She's like, all these places. Like, did you know that Tripoli is in Libya? That's the capital, and it's right at the bottom of the Mediterranean. Right. So it's next to Tunisia. And
I've got a friend from Tunisia
and Egypt. I was like, okay, that's really cool.
So it's
I didn't
North
know
Africa
that.
then.
Yeah, and she was telling me about she was alive when Gaddafi was there. She was telling me about you've got the Turks here, you've got these two different militia guys, you've got the general here, you've got the Russian. It was really interesting. Or my old assistant manager, Chris, his family from Ghana, and so he was just telling me about that. And it was written Shaq telling me about Grenada. It was really interesting because everyone's got different cultures. It's not like, oh yeah, you look really like you should be from Nigeria. It's like, I'm not gonna say some bullshit like that because that doesn't even make any sense. Like,
one thing I do think is fair enough to get annoyed about is when people would say to one person like mix up like the Caribbean and Africa because they are two
very
completely different things. Like one of my mates from Zimbabwe. One of my other friends thought that the Zimbabwe was in the bloody Caribbean. I was like, it's very much Central Africa.
Yeah, it's just horrific ignorance. I'm only saying this because I don't want to forget it. The issue I have with some transgender things is where it becomes dangerous. There is a UFC fighter called Fallon Fox who spent 36 years as a man and then turned into a woman, competed in the UFC as a woman, and was just smashing women.
Yeah.
Was not a good fighter, but was just spent that long with testosterone coursing through their body, that height, that muscular, the size of the shoulders and the hips, and the size of the fists, just smashing people. And no one said a word except for your commentators who are like, "This is wrong. This shouldn't be happening."
Yeah, sports is a grey area.
Because you didn't reveal it until people were like, "What the? I don't recognise you. You're whoever."
Yeah.
For that. But again, that's not to say that. That's not taking anything away from being transgender, or that's not saying that women are weak. It's just you've got that physical disparity. But then if you get like Amanda Nunes or Chris Cyborg, who are killer female, like the top tier, Gina Carano, Holly Holmes, top tier female UFC fighters will kill anyone put in front of them. Yeah, and that's just because they've been trained like that. Yeah. Yeah, but it's that's dangerous. We have stuff like that, and you get like some of them competing in some transgender people competing in like the Olympics, and they're just smashing female records out of the park, just destroying it. And you're like, that's not fair. Yeah, that's just so unfair. Because at that point, it's just like you're being so progressive. You're actually being, I don't know. Is it sexist to go that far? Is it?
What isn't it? It's kind of like you want to be a woman.
It's kind of like you.
I don't want to have to word it because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, I don't know where it goes from there, but it's just wrong.
It's an iffy. It's a grey area, but I think that will come with time. People will figure out how it works.
Yeah, I mean, like they've done some things where they've had, they've deliberately gone, oh, okay, we'll have a woman fight a man, and they're like, you both up for it? Yeah, let's do it. Cool, that's fine. If you're both up for it and you're all fine with it, cool. It's when you're not telling people and using it as a hidden advantage to win. Yeah.
It needs to be a clear, this is how it is.
Exactly, it's a problem.
But it's like, what was the thing I wanted to say? Sorry, what's something in my mouth? Just going back to what we were saying earlier, I know we keep going off in tangents, coming back to them.
It's the beauty of the podcast, Amy.
With the skin colour thing, quite a lot of people who keep saying to me, oh, it's a lovely colour, your skin, lovely colour. Oh,
Christ almighty.
It's just like...
Yeah, you can't pick me up. You can't pick me up at a fucking zoo.
It's supposed to be a compliment, but it's kind of like,
no, it's weird.
I don't understand why your opinion of the colour of my skin is meant to make me feel validated.
No, it's weird.
And I feel like they almost think, oh, if I tell them they've got a lovely skin colour, I'm not racist. It's like, no.
It's like saying, oh yeah, I've got a friend who's black, and you're like,
or it's like going up to somebody.
The fact you've got to say that.
Or it's like going up to someone going, well, I don't normally like afros, but yours is really nice. It's like,
you're right.
I just think it's just a weird. You don't need to comment on the colour of my skin. Unless you can go, you've got a nice tan because I've tanned. Fair enough.
You're like, thanks.
Because I've been out in the sun. Yeah. But it's like going up to my normal pigment on my skin and going, oh, that's a lovely colour you've got.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to say.
Can I get a comparison? I'll use it on my wall. That'd be lovely.
No, but it's like, so what's not a lovely colour?
Hmm.
That's the
Anything
thing.
Other?
If you've got to comment on it, that suggests that there's another. There's
no,
not.
but as you said with the Afro comparison, it's like normally I wouldn't like it, but
Yeah.
that's the racist thing.
Yeah, or it's like
Anything before,
normally I wouldn't like kind of Sri Lankan tone. Not there's one. There's there's so many different ethnicities there, but normally I wouldn't like, I don't know, this complexion of burger or whatever. But yours is nice. That's what I'm hearing.
As Dad taught me from an early age, anything after the word "but" is a lie.
Yep. And so I just think it's a little bit like it. Would you class that almost as a microaggression? A little bit.
I don't believe in micro shit.
It's just but as in stuff that comes across. It's covered in.
No, that's just plain racism. Don't call it micro. It's just plain as racist. Micro is horseshit.
And I think also having, grown up very much in an English culture, we don't have any Sri Lankan culture. No, I can think of not one bit.
We enjoy the food.
No, but it's not Sri Lankan.
I know it's not.
That's the thing. It's not even Sri Lankan.
It's the variation from Birmingham of Indian cuisine.
Yeah. So it's I was speaking to a friend of mine she's Sinhalese. She asked me, "Are you Sinhalese or Tamil?" And I went, "I don't know."
Couldn't tell you. Yeah.
I said Sinhalese, and I was technically right because the Sri Lankan strain of our burger lineage was the women were Sinhalese.
Oh, okay.
But the men were Dutch.
Okay, yeah. Again, I myself, I don't know.
So essentially, in Sri Lanka,
Louise just come back.
Essentially, in Sri Lanka, you have lots of different ethnic groups. It's been invaded many a time, and the main two native groups, I believe, are the Tamils and the Sinhalese. I could be completely wrong, but this is just what I found on Wikipedia. And
a trusted, verified source.
Very trusted, verified. But then, I think in around 1600 or around that kind of time, you had Portuguese invaders and you had Dutch invaders, but they ended up settling, and then both the Portuguese and the Dutch married Sinhalese women, and basically from there formed a lineage which is called the burgers. So you have Dutch burgers and Portuguese burgers. We're Dutch burgers. And to be I don't know how harmonious it was, but it didn't seem too bad from what I read. I mean, can you really say too bad when you've gone and invaded somebody else's country? Probably not. But from what I could tell,
do justice to genocide.
From what I could tell, well, there didn't seem to be a lot of genocide from what I read.
Oh, okay.
That was when the British came, but we'll get to that in a minute. From what I could tell, for about 100 to 200 years, there developed a line of started off as half Dutch, half Sinhalese, and obviously as it went further, probably got more Sinhalese or more Dutch, more Portuguese, more whatever. And they became known as a different group of people, which became the burgers, and they were just a different ethnic group. And they lived pretty well together for quite a few hundred years, expanded in size. Then the British invaded. So, but to bear in mind, during this time, the Portuguese and the Dutch burgers kept a lot of the European culture. And I think they all still spoke Portuguese and Dutch. The British invaded late 1700s. And basically, that was when pretty much every Dutch burger family, apart from 200, one of which was our family, left. They fled. They were like, fuck this, we don't want to be here. We all know what the British colonisation was like. We don't need to go into that. But
it's all fun and games for everyone involved.
And so they basically made everyone speak English. And they made everyone Catholic, which is why a lot of the Dutch burgers, including our family, were Catholic and English speaking. So when you get to about I want to say 42, could be completely wrong, Sri Lanka got their independence. Anybody who didn't speak in Sinhala, everyone had to speak Sinhala.
Keep talking about that.
And obviously our family being English-speaking Catholics, they had to leave, which is why our dad's family migrated here as the first generation to our family, to this country. But I think it's interesting how we forced them to speak our language. And then I think now, because the Tamils got oppressed because they didn't speak Sinhala, it's now 50-50. That's the language that is spoke there. But there's barely any burger families left, if any.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, ours split to the four corners of the earth.
Most went to Australia or England, or
a few to America.
Yeah.
4th of February 1948
was the independence. I was close.
Close.
But it was so interesting to read about because, I mean, as usual, just the English came and fucked it all up, really.
I think it's. So was this? When did you read this?
2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so after the after we went to the protest and we were talking about we all educated ourselves a bit more. So we watched the 13th documentary,
so
and
good.
we found out a bit more about the UK slavery as well. I'm guessing it took you as a curiosity towards our heritage as well.
Well, I actually there's still a Dutch Burger Union in Sri Lanka. There's a building. I think it's in Colombo, probably in Colombo.
Again,
and
it's so English that we've got a fucking place called Colombo in Sri Lanka.
It's quite obviously Sinhalese.
Oh, forgive me. I was clearly
Obviously.
a dialect I'm not familiar with.
God. And one thing that I read about the burgers is, especially the Dutch burgers, is they have a real interest in heritage and keeping keeping records of ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a burger book, and if you go onto the Dutch Burger Union website, there's like 800 families they've got listed. Both our paternal grandfather and grandmother, their families are in there. So I managed to find both of them in the book.
Nice.
It doesn't go any further than that. We have a book ourselves, which is
I've got it upstairs, yeah.
yeah, which is just Della Harpe. And
It's 13,
our dad's in it.
1312 to 65.
Will be later
66.
than that because
It-
dad's
it-
younger siblings are in it. 'Cause dad's
oh
in
yeah,
it.
of course, yeah,
Yeah,
70
so
something. Yeah,
so I
so
think
it
I think
finishes at
It finishes
dad's
dad's generation.
yeah.
But it's just fascinating that I went because I was looking for famous Della Harpes and I couldn't see any that we were really related that I could recognise, or famous burgers even.
Yeah, burgers not so much. It's more on the other side. It's more the French.
Yeah, but that's not our.
Yeah, it's not
that's
us.
not
It's not
our
us.
line.
It's the our female ancestor married into that. I'm thinking. No, I must be. I'm thinking before.
Well, I know there's like 2 lineages. There's Dutch lineage and there's French because they both originate from Swiss French.
I'm thinking the
There
Swiss
was
French.
2
Yeah, I'm not
brothers.
thinking the Dutch burgers.
So
I'm thinking the other side.
There's 2 brothers. There's the Dutch side, which leads into our bit, and then there's the French side. So you get like Rue de la Harpe.
Yeah, I'm thinking French
The
one.
de la
Yeah.
Harpe who married the guy who designed France. That's why not France.
It is the
Paris.
roads up to the Arc de Triomphe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During the French Revolution, which is why you have Rue de la Harpe, where you can go there and you can get crêpe de la Harpe.
And a hot chocolate.
That's not what de la Harpe, is it?
Shush. And
Chocolat de la Harpe.
we've got on the same side. There's the guy who helped co-write the Swiss Constitution.
And then there's another one. But he's further up the tree.
Yeah.
And then we are related to the guy who was tutor to the Tsar's son.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember which Tsar.
Yeah, but
There's a lot of us.
all
There's a
neighbours.
group chat on Facebook. Go join it. Don't join it. You're not. Yeah, don't join it if you're not related.
Yeah, they won't let you in. I think it's one of
This
those
is true.
things where it's just a select group for a reason.
It's interesting. De la Harpe family. I wonder if they let in other people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Probably not.
my surname's Balthazar. Will they let me in? That'd be a dope surname, wouldn't it? I just like Balthazar.
I feel like you'd like any name that sounded like you'd be in Lord of the Rings.
It just sounds real cool. It's just got to be done, you know.
Yeah, but it does also sound a little bit nerdy.
We realised that Shaq, I was on a video call with him earlier, and he has a first edition of the Silmarillion by J.R. Tolkien.
Really? That's the prequel, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Essentially.
he wrote that in 1977. So the Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit.
Wait, when did he write the other
The Hobbit came out in 33, and the Lord of the Rings trilogy came out in 54 through to 55.
Wait, you wrote the Hobbit first?
Yes. So he wrote and released it first, and then the other ones came out. He didn't do it like most people do, where they do the prequel. So the Hobbit came first.
Which did he write first?
Hobbit. So the Hobbit was the whole point of the Lord of the Rings books and all the characters was he was reading them as bedtime stories for his 2 sons.
But the Hobbit ties into characters from the Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that come first?
He just knew what he was doing.
Oh, so he'd obviously already made the story up in his head.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's no way you could write a prequel like that and then go, oh, let me just build 3 books and another one after
No,
that.
but again, it's the same. It's J.R. Tolkien each time. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not anyone else writing different books. So he did that, and then in 77,
Mm-hmm.
a year before he died, he released the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
But yeah, because Shaq was like, oh yeah, I think it's pretty cool, and I was looking up, I was like, oh yeah, first edition 1977. He was like, but unfortunately, the article I was reading is the caveat was that that's quite common that those books are in circulation. So they produced like 5,000 of those for that first edition, whereas the Lord of the Rings they produced 1,500 for the first edition.
Okay.
I mean, like I bought the collection today, like Hobbit through to Lord of the Rings to Return of the King. Sorry, and obviously that's the new version, so
yeah,
20 quid, for the whole lot.
What time is it, by the way?
It is 11:44.
Should we call it quits here?
I think it's a very we've covered some good amount.
We've covered everything.
We've got some good topics. It's an hour
history
and 20 we put into that.
Comedy to school.
School is cool. That's why it rhymes.
I hate you so
Okay. Coming from you, you did the edible joke earlier, little shit.
It was educational.
Okay. Well, that was episode 6 of Harping On with 2 harps. 2 harps. Sorry. Okay. Thanks very much for listening.
It's definitely time to finish.
We'll listen next time. See you later.
See ya.